I've been sitting in front of the computer all day for the last 3 days. I'm knackered, my eyes, as you can see, I'm half asleep. And I'm hungry, so I'm going to knock up a bit of a pasta. The fridges and the cupboards looking fairly bare, so let me see, can I turn this round? Looking at the ingredients. So looking at the ingredients here, I've got some Pinot Grigio wine that's going to add some acid to it. I don't have tomato puree, so got a little bit of ketchup in there that's going to have to do. Some chopped tomatoes, good olive oil, a couple of old tomatoes. I got some pepper dews stuffed in here. There's only 3 in there. A bit of cream cheese, that'll be fine. Some mini yellow peppers. I don't have white onions, so I'll have to take a red onion. Got some garlic. I'll probably use a couple of cloves of those. Got 1 old salad onion. Pack of 6 Cumberland sausages. I'm not going vegetarian, that's for sure. Got some Parmesan cheese, and I've got about 1/3 of a bag of spaghetti. So I'm going to prep this and I'll get back to you. Okay, so what I've got here is I've got my pasta water that's currently got some salt in there. I'm using Himalayan pink salt today. I've got my frying pan, got some oil in there. I've blended the tomatoes with the chopped tomatoes, so that's going to go nice and smooth, just give a nice creamy sauce. Over here's my mise en place. I've got my red onions, my garlic. I took the skins off the sausages and then rolled them into little meatballs, which I'm going to add to the sauce as it's cooking. Very Italian, very basic, old school. There's my pepper dews with the cream cheese. That's going to add some flavour to it. I've got some just finely, not even julienne, it's thicker than a julienne of peppers. And I've got my spring onions there. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to check my oil. So making sure the oil's nice and hot. As you can see, the oil is running. So adding my meatballs. Now this sauce will cook for a good probably 2 hours. If you really want to take it long, I'm not going to wait that long. So I'll cook it for a minimum 30 to 40 minutes, maybe an hour depending. While that's cooking, I'm just going to add a little bit of seasoning to it. A bit of black pepper. And a little bit of salt. And all I'm doing is, I just want to brown the meat off. As I'm sealing this off, hopefully, in the cooking process it will hold its shape and it won't fall apart. Now normally I wouldn't use pork sausages, I would use a beef sausage or something a bit firmer. But, as you said, we're just using up whatever is lying around. So you see that? That's nicely sorted, so got a little bit of colour on them. Take those out. And everything's going in the same pan as well, so it's minimum washing up. Okay, there's enough oil in the pan, so in with my onions. Normally I would use white onions, but like I said, I didn't have today. And my garlic. This is just 2 cloves of garlic. I don't want to make it too strong. Break it up. You'll see quite similarities between the sauce I'm making now and what Calvin did. Once you've got the basis of the cooking, everything else becomes very similar. I'm just going to start these onions off. I don't want to cook it too far down. For this particular dish, I want it quite chunky. I don't want it to be too smooth. The tomatoes has already been cooked down, so I'm just trying to keep it as simple as possible. If you've ever made a dish where you're really using up ingredients, you can use mushrooms in them. If you don't have chopped tomatoes, finishing the sauce with cream cheese, that's an option as well. So you see the onions there around about half cooked. I'm now going to add my peppers. Yes, I do want them to cook down mostly, but still keep its shape. Okay, it's looking good. Okay, so those onions are about 3/4 cooked. I'm going to add a splash of wine. That's it. Wine of choice today, Pinot Grigio. Okay. It's just going to deglaze the pan, get rid of any flavours that's on the bottom of the pan there. If you could smell this, I love a bit of white wine in my cooking. As Floyd said, I love cooking with alcohol. Sometimes I put it in the food. So just let that tick down. If you don't let the wine cook down now, you will get acidic taste to your food. So make sure you do cook it right down. Keep moving around, deglazing the pan. Make sure there's no bits of meat, sediment or anything at the bottom. So that's going to all come into the sauce now. Okay, so the pepper dews and the spring onions I'll add much later. I'm not too phased about that just now. So as you can see, these onions are really softening up now without it burning. If you burn it, it's just going to get a really bitter flavour to it. We're not after that. So there we go. So let's get my tomato in there. As you can see, most of the wine is gone. So get my tomato in there. And actually, I don't have tomato puree, so I'm going to have to use some ketchup. I also don't have much ketchup in here, so I'm going to have to do the old tap and squeeze. Luckily today's payday. A little trick as well, if you squeeze your bottle out and just pick up some water from your pasta water, give it a bit of a shake, and we waste no water. Doesn't matter if you get a bit of tomato in that water, you're going to be using it, the same product anyway. So as you can see, I've got every ounce out that I could. Turn it down to low simmer now. Get a little bit of sugar in them. I'd say probably about equivalent to about 2 teaspoons. We'll adjust that later. And what herbs do I have here? There's some oregano. That's typical Italian, so get there nice and early. Because it's dry, you want it to rehydrate. Okay, give it a good stir. And as this cooks, you may have to adjust the consistency by adding a touch of water to it. As it goes now, I can now start adding my bits of sausage. Now you need to stir this just very gently occasionally, making sure you don't break the sausage up. So it's just going to be on a low simmer now. Just occasionally give it a wee stir. Okay, I'm going to cook that out for about 30 minutes now. Okay, so my sauce has been cooking now for about 45 minutes. I'm going to add the rest of my ingredients, so the pepper juice and the spring onions without losing my spoon. And as I give that a stir, the cream cheese will mix into the sauce, just make it a little bit extra creamy. But you'll notice the sauce is getting a little bit thick. So I'm going to add a bit of water to it. And just bring it back up to the simmer and just let that gently tick over. Now this pasta, normally I would say finish your pasta in your sauce. So cook it for about 6 to 7 minutes, then finish it in the water. Today we're going to cook the pasta 100% full. So throw your pasta in there. Now, do not leave your pasta like that. As you do it, fold it in, get in there. Don't let it stand out too long, otherwise it's going to undercook in some areas and overcook in others. So just force it in there, or use a larger pan. Unfortunately, my next size pan is massive, so I'm not going to be doing that. So as your pasta's in there, occasionally give it a stir, break it up, and allow that to cook. You'll note I have no olive oil in this water. The Italians don't do that. So I will get you back when I start finishing off. Right, so we start looking at finishing the product off now. So I'm going to start with the pasta. It's been about 8 minutes cooking, which is nice and loose. Only way to tell the pasta's cooked is to taste it. Don't throw it against the wall. If it sticks, it's dirty. Doesn't mean it's cooked. So I reckon probably about 2 minutes left on that pasta. I'm now going to start tasting my sauce. So, getting nice and thick. Yeah, it's got a good balance of sweet and sour in there. I'm liking that, well balanced. I'm going to add some Parmesan cheese to it. Just a little bit. Let that melt in. I'm going to start seasoning. So start with a little bit of black pepper. This dish particularly would go really well if you had some chili in there starting off. That would add like nice little flavour. So there's my salt. Always remember, you taste, then season, then taste, then season. You never season first. Because if you remember, we added some salt to the meatballs before we cooked it. And also remember that your Parmesan cheese is salty. Give it a nice stir, make sure it gets nice and even. I'm also being very careful not to break up my meatballs. Put it back to my spoon. I'd say a touch more salt. And a bit for Justin. That sauce is now going to be real good for binding, so I'm happy with that. So another wee taste quickly. That's good. All that sauce needs is a little bit of basil or some fresh parsley to finish it off, but I don't have that. So double check my pasta quickly. That's good for me. As the Italian says, Bugatti. So, I'll call you in a minute. Okay, so I've just drained my pasta. I like to add a bit of olive oil to it. Make sure it doesn't stick. It's going to add a nice flavour to it as well. A little bit of salt. Remember, I did add salt to the water as well. Give that a good mix. Just grab a bit like it and get a nice big chunk. Get nice in the middle. I'm a fat knacker, so I'll get a double portion. Make a little bit of a hole in the middle so you can get some sauce in there as well. And now my sauce. Just bring it close in. And there we go. Now that made enough for up to 4 people. There we go. And just to finish it off, a little bit of Parmesan cheese. And if you really want to be a fancy chef, just a little bit of olive oil over the top. And that is my empty cupboard and fridge spaghetti and meatballs. Enjoy.